This episode of the Totally Rad Show is brought to you by Squarespace. Coming up, we continue our daily coverage of E3.
Totally Rad Show.
It was all games all the time for us on this second day of E3 show floor. We started the day off with Bethesda, looking at probably my most anticipated game of the year, Skyrim, the sequel to Oblivion, the new Elder Scrolls game. I know you guys are a little disappointed by the look of the game.
Well, surprising, they showed the demo on the Xbox 360. Now, I mean, that's not a weird thing, but because of the fact that it really didn't look all that great. It was very well articulated, it was very massive and cool, but I mean, some of these textures were really low res. I mean, there was a lot of really crazy stuff going on. He even to the one point moved over to one of the totally generic looking bushes that was repeated throughout the scene and was like, look how great the bushes are. He did not have that accent.
What did you think?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a beauty to the game, but the graphics, just the rendering of it did not look great, especially compared to some other games at Bethesda.
Yeah, sure. Sure, I would love it to look as good as The Witcher.
Right.
2.
Yeah.
Right.
But the fact that he goes, my favorite quote,
yeah.
It's an Elder Scrolls game, which means you can go to the top of that mountain.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll trade that in for that any day of
And
the
that's
week.
where I think it really won me over, was the way that they sort of made accessible the deep, deep, deep RPG that you know you're gonna get with Elder Scrolls
Oh my
5.
God, I love the fact that every item in the game is 3D rendered, and that when you look in your inventory, it shows you a model of it that you can rotate. That's awesome. It looked like there were puzzles that the clues were on the items, so you had to look at them. That's awesome. And the ambient world sort of immersive, evolving storylines that you get. We saw a fight that happened with a dragon that just happens, and then people start shooting arrows at it because you get, it's just this emergent gameplay that is unlike any other games that are out there. It's incredible.
Yeah, I agree. I want to exist in this world like I did with Red Dead. You know, like I feel like I will really feel a part of the world. And the small comments people make as you walk by and the different kinds of areas really won me over.
And also the map. Pulling out,
Oh my
you
God,
literally
that
pull
was
out to a
probably the best
3D
part.
render.
It was like the opening
Google
to Game
Earth.
of Thrones.
It was.
And when you popped out and being able to fly over the world really
so
made you
awesome.
feel like, these are the things that I wish the BioWare games would bring me.
Exactly.
Which is, you peel back and you're in this little beautiful little place, but you peel back, and there are no edges. There are no load boundaries. That's what the game is.
And it probably made it worse because we then went right to marveling at the beauty of Rage.
Oh my
We're all
God,
excited
that
for
game
Rage.
is gorgeous.
Gorgeous. And running silky smooth on console.
Silky
The way-
High frame rate.
Really silky. I mean,
Yeah.
really never
Yes.
has that buttery
Yes.
butter.
Buttery
like,
butter.
It just,
Great
it just
feel.
like literally, it just like it's every frame melts into the
Yeah.
next frame.
Yeah.
And speaking of beautiful games, we got our hands on the Vita.
Yes.
Went to Sony next.
Yep.
Hands on the Vita. Holy
Uncharted
moly.
on the Vita. So what
living
they
the Vita
showed
Loca now.
Yeah, what they showed us in the press conference didn't do justice to how crisp and clear the graphics look.
It's
It
that
looks
OLED
like
screen,
it is.
dude.
It looks like a small version of the PlayStation 3, and I didn't think that was possible. It feels great in the hand, a little big, but not that big.
What'd you think of the back touch?
I got really into it. I played the Deviants.
Yeah, little
where you
Deviants.
actually have to pop on the back of the, and once you get oriented by it, you can go right to it. And I was really enjoying it.
I had a bad experience with the back touch playing
Which
a
game?
stealth ninja game.
Okay.
Because I hold the controller
Yeah.
touching the back.
Yeah.
And by touching the back in this game, I went into first person mode. So I would like move and then all of a sudden I'd be like, first person. And
Yeah.
in a third person game, then I went to first person. That being said, I don't think the front touch is for me in a game like Uncharted.
Oh no, yeah.
But the back touch, I could get into I mean, there's no reason
Like
for me to take my
reload?
hand off of a controller.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it easier, it makes it more difficult if
But
the
there
way
are
I
some
control.
applications of it, I think, that you'd be like, it just makes sense to touch that.
But I found even when you have to use the 6-axis, I have to not see the screen anymore to then see when you're swinging on the vine.
you
So
called it the 6-axis.
yeah.
I think
right.
the accelerometer.
Yeah, the accelerometer.
I think that you really nailed into things that I'm really excited about, which is let me place my fingers on the back touch, and instead of ever taking my thumb off the camera button,
Yeah.
I'm now firing, reloading, changing weapons, all on the back of this thing. That's the stuff that I think is
Yeah.
going to really blow people's minds.
I played Super Stardust HD, and I kept, you do your super attacks by the back touch, and I
Yeah.
kept accidentally shooting them off. But I will say, rotating it and seeing, we all know that twin stick Super Stardust HD view, and you can rotate the thing and get like the camera angle to change. Awesome. I think this thing is so gorgeous.
Amazing.
And Uncharted,
Yeah.
it's light. It
Yeah.
feels good in my hand. The sticks feel great.
Yeah.
It's what I wish the iPhone was, the iPad was. I wish it was all the touch screen games. Yes, I can still play them.
Yeah.
But when I want dual sticks, I've
You
got
have them,
dual
yeah.
sticks.
Yeah.
We also saw.
Yeah.
I know a game I know you're gonna flip for. I flipped for as well.
Yeah.
I think we all were
I
enamored
was
with
flipping
it.
for it, though I wasn't hearing it, and I know this game is going to be all about the sound design.
It's the
We're
next
not
game
just that,
from-
the experience.
No.
The
I
next
know.
game from that game company, the people that brought us Flower, it's Journey. It's a work of art.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. And screenshots for this game do not do it justice because I've seen screenshots for it for a long time and it looks very sparse. It's this kind of desert look. It looks kind of like, oh, the graphics don't look that great. But when you see it in motion
Yeah, it's crazy.
and you're moving through the sand and there's pieces of fabric in the air that are floating around you. And I felt like there's a lot of dance games out there, but when you get the second player, I felt like this is the first time where I feel like I'm actually dancing with someone.
Well, and they
dancing with
and
someone.
they talked about the two-player experience because it's two-player co-op. But what they said was, what happens if we take two-player experience and we totally make it anonymous? You don't know who you're playing with. You don't know the gender. You don't know the age. You can't communicate with
You don't
them.
even know if it's
You don't
a
even
person
know-
or the computer.
Yeah, and you don't know the gamer tag name or any of that stuff. And what they said is that the experience then becomes this very emotional exchange
Yeah.
between two human beings. That's it. That's what they got. And it's really amazing what they did.
Like a human being, this game is beautiful on the outside and the inside.
Yes.
It combines a lot of aesthetics.
Dan was writing several haikus to
Yes.
explain how he feels.
Yeah.
It combines a lot of aesthetics that I love from games and art.
And
but,
women.
But what was amazing to me is that whereas Flower, the second you picked up Flower, it felt it just felt joyous to move through the fields.
Yeah.
The second you pick up this game, it's actually a little bit frustrating in that you can't move very well. You're like trying to move through the sand or whatever, but then as you go over a hill, when you go down a hill, you start to slide down the
Yeah.
hill, and then you get your first flower, and you can't do anything but move. You can't do anything but look at first. You can't do anything but
Yeah.
move. And then as you go on this journey, you can float, and
Yeah.
floating is awesome. And then by the end of what we played, you can do way more than float. And
Yeah.
just that progression,
Yeah.
and like you said, communicating with someone, it's like
Yeah.
Enemy Mine meets
Yeah.
the desert level of the desert
Amazing.
scene of Lawrence of Arabia.
Amazing.
Yeah.
We then moved on to Capcom, where we saw a couple of interesting games. The new Resident Evil, which is Resident Evil as a pure shooter. Resident Evil,
Yeah.
of course, the franchise that started survival horror. It's a pure shooter.
It's basically Left 4 Dead, but with the Resident Evil skin.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
I would say very different than that though, because Left 4 Dead isn't really even Left 4 Dead is this multiplayer experience. Like this feels more like
That's what this is.
a third-person
four-player co-op.
But it's
Survive
But Left 4
with your
Dead. I couldn't relate
waves
Left 4
of
Dead. I think
zombies.
this is closer to not Gears of War, but like Ghost Recon, like a third-person
The problem I
action
had was
game
it felt more
than
like
a Left 4
horde
Dead.
mode. It felt more like horde
Yes.
mode in Gears of
Well,
War.
the interesting thing
which
is
I
that-
was like,
Yes.
this is the story, which is why I was thinking.
It's interesting that they allow you to do 4 versus 4, and then the zombies are just. It's not like you're playing against people playing as zombies like in Left 4
Yeah,
Dead.
the
You're playing
multiplayer-
4 versus 4, and then zombies are also there
and
causing
amazing
havoc.
stuff because
I think
then they
that's
have
cool.
like,
That is
oh
cool.
yeah, they like you hit the enemy with a pheromone spray, and then all the
Yeah.
zombies horde on that. I mean,
I
there's
love
really
that it's
great
almost like
gameplay
playing a multiplayer game with like a very interactive level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the zombies are like this. It's like that scene in Flash Gordon where they're battling on the thing and then
And it's all
spikes come
tippy.
out
Yeah,
and
yeah.
tipping and like it's like that.
Zombies are the spikes.
And it's interesting, we saw Dragon's Dogma, which is from the creator of Devil May Cry and all these very Japanese action games,
Yeah.
who is giving us a very Western open world RPG, which I thought looked pretty good.
Well, they said action, not action RPG. I think there's going to be less RPG elements in this game. But it's very interesting to me. I think the thing that I've been noticing the most at this E3 is how many games are very similar, medieval-ish hack and slashers.
Either that or military shooters.
I mean, really, it is. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Which is why it was interesting that we went to Nintendo, the home of not military shooters
Yeah.
usually, and we got our hands on
Yeah.
Wii U. Now, we had our opinions in yesterday's episode. Hopefully you saw it from the press conference.
Yeah.
But it's, I think, a completely different thing.
Getting this thing
Getting
in your hand.
First of all,
It's a game changer.
seeing Nintendo properties in HD,
Yeah,
which
that
the
in and of
press
itself.
conference did not do a good job of displaying, but in the hands-on demo,
Yeah.
it's a big deal just seeing your Mii with the crisp lines.
Yeah. Or Luigi and Mario that look like Luigi and Mario and
Yeah.
not some blocky version of something. You know what I mean?
But
and
then
the
what-
game. We played a couple of different games.
Yeah.
One
None
of the
of them are
games-
actual games.
No,
they're all
they're
tech demos
tech
for
demos.
the controller.
But that said, I'd play that Mario Chasing Me game all the time at parties. We played the Mario overhead. The person who's playing Mario sees where everybody is on the board.
But it's actually your
Pac-Man
Mii
style.
in a Mario hat.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Me Mario. But it really, what I was playing was really Pac-Man.
Exactly.
It was trying to avoid the ghosts, but the ghosts were humans. Anyway, long story short, so intense, super fun.
But again, a party game that you need 5 people to enjoy.
True.
Obviously
but
not
also-
even a product yet.
But also an experience that doesn't exist anywhere.
Was that you, Dan? Because you suck at jumping.
Dive! You gotta get him down!
Come on, baby! Yes! That is how you run in circles! Nice. Oh, my Lord.
Dan, what did you think? We also played another one with an alien ship where you control it completely through the accelerometer.
And basically what it is
The gyroscope, I guess you would say.
what we played with the Wii U are games where some people are playing using the TV screen and you are playing on your controller screen.
Yeah.
Which is super cool. It's not the thing I'm most excited about
Yeah.
with the new Wii U. I'm more, and by the way, once again, tech demos and this aren't games, but I was just more excited with, I'm gonna be able to play hardcore things on my Nintendo, and this is an added experience to it. I'm more excited by that than the same old cutesy Nintendo
How do you feel
vibe.
about the feel of the controller?
The controller feels great in my hand. I don't love, with the Vita and this, I don't love tilting and I'm like, and I have to like lean like this.
Yeah.
I don't understand the accelerometer with my screen because I can't see
gyroscope,
it.
really.
Gyroscope, okay. You know, like,
Yeah.
it doesn't work for me, and it's
I
not
think-
what gets me going, but
Yeah.
it's still an amazing technology and it's the future
But I
and
think
it's awesome.
really now, I mean, the guy, you know, our buddy over at Nintendo was talking about how they were really excited about the fact that now they have the ability to not be the dumbed down brother of the big games. That you can go, hey, if you want to play Mario, you have the device for it. If you want to play the crazy next,
Yeah,
you know,
we're gonna have
whatever
Call of
it is,
Duty and-
Mass Effect,
Yeah.
the next Mass Effect, you will have it, and you will have it at just the same experience as the other things, but with maybe even some added stuff that you
I
can't
just
get on
don't
the
know
other.
if those. I just
That's
don't
what
know
I'm
if those,
most excited
Yes.
about.
I don't know if those nubbins are what I want for sticks for a real.
My
hardcore
nubbin
experience,
did
but
fall off, I have to say, but that's
It's
okay.
also, I think, the big
sorry.
problem for Nintendo. We also saw Mario 3DS. I think
I
the
hate
big
the
problem.
3D on the 3DS, man. I had a hard time.
Well, I
with
think my takeaway is that in both cases, to sell the systems, you really have to have hands-on.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what is special about those systems is putting them into your hands, and that's a tough sell for the
Well,
for
the other
market.
thing, real quick before we move on, was he said that's a hard thing for Nintendo.
Yeah.
With 3D, with the 3DS, you go, no glasses needed 3D in your hand. You know that system. And
Yeah,
they're
but you
trying
don't
really hard to
understand it
figure
until you
out.
see it.
I get that, but at least you're halfway there. With
Yeah.
the Mii, with the Wii U, it's like, I mean, you kind of got a
What's
screen and then the
special
thing.
about it in both cases is not something that's easy to communicate.
Yes.
You have to experience it.
Exactly.
Speaking of experiencing things,
Really?
the biggest surprise of the whole show was next when we went to THQ, and I saw Saints Row the Third, which I thought I was gonna hate because it's this over the top, just completely mental, disturbed, exercise in crazy.
Extremely fun.
Amazing! First of all, it looks good.
Looked awesome.
Looked like it played awesome. It looks like they even fixed the whole GTA cars that suck. Because the car driving looked like it was really good.
Jets and I mean, it's got the base sense of humor.
You know what it's like? It's like Just Cause. There's no grappling, but it's like Just Cause 2 in a
Except good.
city.
Yeah.
In a city. Except good.
In a city.
There you
By
go.
that he means in a city.
The explosion, everything looked great. It was well written, well acted. Even though it's like silly humor, it's well performed, so it makes
And
it
it
actually
owns it.
funny.
It owns what it's doing.
It's so
great.
much fun, and it just is. It just feels like it's just fun to play.
Exactly.
It has a sense of humor. It's great.
It's the biggest surprise.
Like,
I want it right now.
Exactly.
It looks like this enormous playground, and like the takedowns of the people on the street. And the cool thing is, it abandons any of that like GTA get stars, the cops are after you thing, because you're a super celebrity, and so everyone loves you until you kill them.
It's
And
like
even then, the people who watch it are like, God, we love you.
If the games we saw today were TV shows,
Yeah.
or the games we've seen so far, D3 were TV shows, BioShock Infinite and Journey would be sitting on my TiVo waiting for me to watch.
Yeah.
Saints Row, the second I got home, I would hit play and get it off my TiVo. I want to see it, you know what I mean?
We also went over to Activision and saw Call of Duty, which,
Dude,
it's amazing.
I got to play the Call of Duty Spec Ops, which we all got to play. My God, those guys know how to make a game. I want to be playing that today. Today.
Well, it's interesting
Super
that
fun.
the multiplayer maps are actually the spec up maps now. It's not separate adventure stuff.
Yeah.
It's more like waves of enemies coming at you. We've seen Horde
But
mode
also
style.
there's money, so you're constant, but you only have like 20 seconds to spend your money. So you're constantly running over to the terminal, trying to spend your money, but a lot of times I'll be at the terminal, it's like 5, 4, and I'm like, I'm not near the place where holding.
And Dan Trachtenberg, prototype apologist. What do you think of Prototype 2?
I'm not really looking forward to it.
There you have it.
The only thing I like about Prototype is the which it still has, which is the running around. The presentation wasn't very good, so that affected me. And
If it was called Venom the game, or Spawn the
Yeah,
game, or
Spawn the
Carnage
game,
the
yeah.
game, based on the Marvel properties.
it's just that the demo spends so much time talking about the combat and the crazy whatever, and the thing I love is
Flying
just
around
traversing the city,
and-
which still is awesome.
Yeah.
But they didn't do anything new there. They just did new combat stuff. So.
And
I don't-
the sequel to Demon Souls, which none of us played because we all heard how
Oh my God.
crazy hard it was.
I want to play Demon Souls
Dark
now, 'cause
Souls
Dark Souls
looks really
fun.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've now played all of these games, all these action,
Yep.
medieval.
The Lord of the
They're all
Rings
the
game,
same,
the
you know?
Capcom game, yeah.
And Dark Souls is the one that I kind of want to play.
It's the one that basically says, don't do the thing that we know you all want to do, which is just run in and slam, and what's
you just
happening?
tap buttons.
Yes.
It's all about skill,
Yeah.
strategy, and you can, that's great.
Yeah.
It's a
So
great day, man.
Be sure to come back tomorrow. We're gonna have EA, I believe. We've got
Star Wars Old
The
Republic.
which Alex is excited about, and tons more. Be happy, excited. TotallyRadShow.com, E3
See us.
2011.
All right, everybody, be sure to stick around for this day in rad history. But first, our sponsors, Daniel Trachtenberg.
Squarespace. Squarespace is the fast and easy way to create a high-quality blog, portfolio, or any kind of website. Jeff runs his personal website on there. I run my professional website.
Oh, I get it.
Amazing.
I see the distinction now.
Amazing. Damn.
So you really see the range of Squarespace.
Just everything.
Yes. If you have questions or need help, Squarespace provides every member with amazing support, from the personal member
Very
to the
personal.
professional member.
the
We've all used
Platinum
it.
member over here.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We seriously all used it, and it is amazing.
That's great.
To have that.
I love the app integration.
Yeah, so
awesome.
you can use it. You can update your blog or your professionally run website from the app. It's that easy.
Your little hobby that you do.
You can start by choosing from over 60 professionally designed templates.
Yeah, they're great templates.
Customize it and then add content to that from your computer or iPhone or iPad. Squarespace mobile apps, as we just described, amazing.
Yep.
So basically, many of the internet's highest traffic web pages are powered by Squarespace. I just mentioned a couple of those. JeffCanali.com, OneCoolThingInA.com, AlexAlbrecht.com, I'm sure.
Both personal and professional.
That's right.
I'm a middle ground.
His porridge
So,
is just right.
So check out squarespace.com/TRS to get a 2-week free trial and learn more.
Are you guys ready for more E3?
I don't know.
I don't either.
Check us out tomorrow for more E3 coverage.
Today is June 9th, and on this day in rad history, back in 1993, the world got its first look at Jurassic Park.
Let's go faster.
Let's go faster.
Amazing.
Amazing. Great movie. This is where I finally saw CG.
It's the birth
and went,
of
wow!
the birth of CG animated characters. Of course, it had been done before.
Yeah.
But it never been done like this.
Yeah, I mean,
with
it was really photorealistic.
photorealistic.
It wasn't
It's
even
crazy.
like, we didn't even know. We just thought it was special effects before. We didn't know how it was made,
Yeah.
if it was, optical printing or computers or whatever. Like, Tron or less, you know what I mean? Like, what is that?
Well, Sherlock
This
Jr.,
is-
right? That was the big
Sherlock Jr. had a
first,
character,
the
but
first
skeleton,
Starfighter
whatever,
predates
yeah.
that, and
Tron was the
yeah,
first big, yeah.
But anyway, but no Jurassic Park.
Yeah. Thank you at Jeremy Milulu.
Malau.
Wow.